Hope, will you marry me? Right now, I'm living the happiest moment of my life. Yes, I'd love to. My name is Hope Collins, just an average office worker in her prime years before marriage. The one proposing to me is Tyler Lee. We've known each other since college, and we're currently living together. A proposal from the man I love, right here in our favorite mom and pop diner. It might not be the typical situation, but I fell in love with his down-to-earth nature. After the proposal, we started talking about meeting each other's families. First, we need to visit your family, Hope. I'm a bit nervous. Tyler starts fidgeting. My family runs a well-known wholesale grocery business. Perhaps he's nervous because of that. What am I supposed to say? Something like, please entrust your daughter to me? The thought of it makes me chuckle. It doesn't suit him at all. I don't like the idea of asking for you, as if you were an object, Hope. I'll think about it. I love this thoughtful side of him. He's a wonderful person who respects, appreciates, and cares about others, always doing the right thing, as if it were second nature. I'm sure with him, we could build a warm, loving family. However, I did have one worry. It was about my father. Once, when I was on a date with Tyler after his work, we ran into my father. Hope, what are you doing here? Who is this man? When I turned around, my father was standing there, with a few men who appeared to be his colleagues. Dad? Are you working? This is Tyler Lee, my boyfriend. I introduced Tyler to my father, a little shyly. Tyler greeted my father with his usual warm smile. Hello, I am Tyler Lee, and I am dating Hope. Oh, dating my daughter. What do you do for a living? I work at a restaurant chain. Tyler works hard every day at a restaurant, and that day he was still in his work clothes from his shift. A chain restaurant. That explains it. Excuse me, I have a meeting. I'll leave you now. I was concerned because my father scrutinized Tyler from head to toe. His clothes were dirty from work, and his hair was messy because he wraps it in a bandana for hygiene purposes at work. He might not have made a good impression, but I know my father will understand once he gets to know Tyler. He's a wonderfully warm person, more than I deserve. With that in mind, I prepared myself for the day of the formal introduction. And on the day of the marriage proposal, Tyler had reserved a room at a hotel restaurant. Seeing him dressed up in a suit instead of his usual work attire felt fresh. It suits you, I said, laughing, amused by his more sophisticated demeanor. He quickly presented a box of sweets to my family. Hello, these are famous sweets from near my hometown. I thought you might like them. Without giving a second glance at the sweets Tyler offered, my father spoke up. What brings you here today? It was clear from my father's attitude that he was not welcoming Tyler. Yet, Tyler maintained his smile and introduced himself to my father. Yes, I've met you before, sir. I'm Tyler Lee, and I'm dating your daughter, Hope. Today, I am here to discuss our intention to marry. And I would like to spend the rest of my life with Hope, and she feels the same way. Although I am still inexperienced, I wish to build a warm home with Hope. I seek your blessings. Tyler looked my father in the eyes as he said this. I was thrilled, but my father's answer was very disappointing. He sighed heavily before speaking. Ugh, I thought it was just a fling for Hope, but it seems you are serious. Huh? Both Tyler and I were surprised by my father's words. I knew she was dating someone, but I must say, he's not very impressive. My mother chimed in. Mother, that's rude to him. But it's true. Your father spends a lot on me, but from what I've heard from Hope, he doesn't even buy her branded items, does he? I don't care about that because Tyler and I don't care about appearances as long as we're clean and presentable. We're not like you, Mom. A woman's worth is found when she is cherished. You'll understand when you meet someone like your father. Stop. Don't disparage him. The only person I want to be with is Tyler. Well, wait, Hope. Our family owns a wholesale food business. We're well known nationwide. Eventually, we have to groom a son-in-law to become a manager. You seem to be dressed formally today, but the last time I saw you, you looked rather poor. You said you were working at a fast food chain, and honestly, I don't think I could entrust my daughter or company to someone at the bottom, like you. Dad, why are you talking to him like that? You don't even know him. It's okay, Hope. It's true. I haven't thought about taking over your father's company. You realize it's a heavy burden then. My father mocked him, but Tyler answered with a smile. No, it's because I have my own things to do. Huh, I'm sure your obligations are trivial, given your cheap suit. Does my suit look cheap to you? Tyler chuckled. I had been gazing at his suit. Knowing him as I do, I find this look quite precious and delightful. I am a president myself, so I have a discerning eye. You must have had to stretch yourself to afford this hotel's restaurant. It's clear you're struggling. But his words didn't affect Tyler. I see. That's a lesson for me. Still, I want to build a happy home with Hope, my way. We've set up this meeting today to seek your approval. Tyler answered directly, but my father continued to brag. But my daughter already has numerous marriage proposals. Of course, all the suitors are far more accomplished than you. Each one has great wealth and an amazing background, perfectly suited to Hope. So, I cannot agree to this engagement. Aren't you overestimating your superiority over these suitors? Indeed, I had received a few proposals like that, but every time I had turned them down. The suitors my father introduced seemed like typical sons of large corporations. It was obvious that these were strategic marriages, and more importantly, I loved the way Tyler cared for me. I don't compare myself to others to determine who is superior or inferior. But let's be honest, someone like you, with a poor look and only capable of menial jobs, doesn't even enter my consideration. I take pride in my work. That's something I won't let anyone, even you, Mr. Collins, belittle. Pride, you say? Isn't it just some boring job at a chain store? Huh. My father scoffed, but this time, Tyler's face hardened. If that's what you think, then there's no helping it. I didn't want to get personal, but from this moment on, I'm terminating all contracts with your company. Tyler? What does that mean? Before I could ask, my father cut in. So, your store was also sourcing from my company. Then you must realize how great my company is. Anyway, you're just a store clerk. You should keep quiet. Use the ingredients supplied by us, and do as your boss says. I believe you'll understand in time. And I'm sure you'll regret your words then. Hope, what about you? I want to be with you, but I can't get along with your parents. I'm grateful to them for raising you, but I can't foresee a friendly relationship with them in the future. Can you make a choice here? Which future do you want to choose? I want to be with you, Tyler. You're more sincere and focused on your goals than someone who judges people by their appearance, like my father. No matter what job Tyler has, my respect for him won't change. I'm happiest when I'm with him. Thank you. With that, he left some money on the table, and we left the restaurant. My parents said something, but I couldn't hear them well. Was Tyler's decision to cut off the contract a reaction to my father's insult of his passion for his job? But it didn't matter. I had decided to stay with Tyler. And then, a few days later, during a day like any other, my cell phone suddenly started ringing loudly. The caller was my father. Hello? I answered. As soon as I did, my father began to yell. Is he there? Who? That guy from the restaurant last time. Is he there? There was an urgency in his voice, but Tyler wasn't here. Tyler's at work, I told him. He had left for work at the usual time and said he'd be home late today. Suddenly, our main client, the restaurant chain Lee House, canceled their contract with us. Did he do something? Lee was indeed the restaurant where Tyler worked, but I hadn't heard that he had a position that would allow him to cancel contracts. I don't know anything about it, but didn't he mention something about canceling a contract? Maybe this has something to do with it. Just then, a news flash appeared on the TV. A major restaurant chain has announced a hostile takeover bid against food wholesaler Collins Foods. A hostile takeover? That's a forced buyout. They were trying to forcefully buy out my father's company and take over management. What? So, if this takeover succeeds, you'll no longer be president, right? That's ridiculous. I could tell from the phone that my father was losing his composure. The TV then switched to a news conference. There stood Tyler, looking different in a suit. Lee House has decided to completely cut off our contract with Collins Foods, and at the same time, we will be initiating a hostile takeover bid. Tyler then announced that if successful, the entire executive board would be dismissed. In other words, it suggested that my father would be completely unemployed. The person speaking on the other end of the TV was undoubtedly Tyler, but he didn't look the same, and his position was listed as CEO. CEO? The press conference seemed to go on forever. Who was this person on the TV screen? The press conference ended after several minutes. I hung up the phone on my speechless father and dialed Tyler. Hello? His voice was as casual as ever. That press conference. I couldn't put my question into words. He seemed to understand and laughed on the other end of the phone. Sorry. Did I surprise you? Surprised? Yeah. Well, actually, he explained each point slowly and carefully. He was the son of the president of Lee House and was currently training, gaining experience at the restaurant while serving as CEO. He knew that my father's company was a supplier, but he didn't think it had anything to do with our relationship, so he didn't mention it. He had been considering canceling the contract because he was concerned about the declining quality of the ingredients from my father's company. He had also been considering the idea of having his own procurement route. What made up his mind was my father's offensive remarks, which led him to make the hostile takeover bid. From here on, once the stock acquisition was completed, a shareholders meeting would be held, and his company would audit the management of my father's company. I'm sorry for not telling you. I really found out that your father's company was our supplier only recently, but I didn't want us to feel awkward around each other, so I kept it confidential until it became relevant. He apologized on the other end of the phone. His apology did not change how I felt. So you were considering me as an individual, weren't you? That's why it doesn't bother me. Still, I was a bit perplexed when he called my suit, tailored in Italy, cheap. I wonder if his discerning eye also has something to do with the declining quality of the supplies, he said, chuckling in a slightly mischievous way. It was probably the most sarcasm the gentle him could muster. And his strategy succeeded. My father was dismissed as the president at the shareholders' meeting. Further investigations revealed that he had been embezzling company funds, getting him in trouble with the police. My mother, who apparently squandered that money, was called in as a witness. Surely they will no longer be able to live as they have been. I do wonder what my mother intends to do, but I can no longer forgive her attitude towards him. I hope she can live within her means. As for my relationship with Tyler, nothing has changed. I met his parents, and they were as calm and composed as him. And their approach towards work and their ideas on building a family were clearly honorable. They apologized for the hostile takeover, but I believe it was a necessary decision. His mother is the epitome of kindness. She treats me dearly, and we've grown so close that we sometimes go out for a sweet treat together. She had never had a daughter to go out with before, and wherever we go, she's just as excited about the food as I am. As for him, the only change is that he now works at the headquarters instead of the store. He's utilizing his experience at the store, working on employee welfare and efficiency in each store. I quit my job to support him. I considered continuing to work, but now I want to make a contribution as a supportive partner, along with his mother. Seeing him leave in a suit every day is endearing in its own way. So, I'm sure we'll continue to get along, just as we have been.